How you doing? All right, I want to start out with Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia's death, or whatever. I'm annoyed that people think he was assassinated because, well, it's my opinion that our whole political system is being acted out, it's staged, and that so even that would mean that even Supreme Court justices are in on the hoax government. So the idea that he was assassinated for political reasons doesn't make any sense. If you hold that belief that it's all staged, acted, like, I don't think any of these candidates for president are, I don't think that any of them aren't in the club. I think they're all in the club, and it's their job to, step up and be candidates. Some of them have to do it, so that's their job, and they're doing it. So, I mean, so if you hold that belief like I do, it's a belief, and it could be wrong. I don't know. But it would be inconsistent of me to say that he was murdered for political reasons. Could have been murdered. I don't know. But not for political reasons. So when people say that, I'm confused. Like, do we now believe that the left-right paradigm is real? I mean, that's classic Alex Jones. There's a left-right paradigm and it's fake. Isn't he one of the guys saying he might have been murdered or whatever? I don't listen to him, so I don't know now. But that's annoying. So to me, it's like propaganda. It's, if it's all a sham government and they're all acting, then talk about assassination would be propaganda because it reinforces the idea that the political back and forth is real. So you see how that is propaganda? So to me, no matter what happened, I imagine that the people who really run the country would throw in some sketchy details so that we all think, oh, he was assassinated, and there's only one reason that would come to mind, which would be, political. So therefore, it props up their sham government. So I see it as propaganda. So when people in the alternative media are talking about it as an assassination for political reasons, well, what are you, propagandists? Not necessarily, but it's a great story to jump on, if you get a radio show or whatever. So at least making a buck wise, it's good for them. So they're gonna yap about it, even though I'm pretty sure it's not true. I think his friend. If you think it's a cover-up, let's say, if you think it's a cover-up, that means that his friend who found the body is in on it, because he is the guy who said that there was a pillow over his head, not over his face. He said there was a pillow over his head, and so if there's a cover-up, that means he's in on it. And so it would be odd, I would think, if you're going to cover something up like a murder, you wouldn't say pillow over the head. Right? You wouldn't say that. You would avoid saying anything like that. I imagine. But if it was a real event and the guy was just talking off the cuff without anything to hide. It's possible he could say pillow over the head when he meant pillow, up, propped up behind his head. It's above his head by the headboard. It's possible he could make a slip like that. But if it was during a cover-up, you're not going to make that slip. Okay? So, in a real world where there is really politics, even then I don't think he was murdered. It just makes more sense that it went the way they said, because he would have avoided saying pillow over the head. But in a world where the politics is bullshit, like I think, it could have gone any number of ways. The guy could have died just like he said, just fucking heart stopped, natural causes, and he threw in the pillow over the head to get us all stirred up. Why would he do that? To, like I said, it's part of propaganda so that we're all chatting about the political ramifications, and then it's reinforcing the idea that politics is real, and that we need to get our guy in there and all that bullshit. See, it keeps you invested in politics because you want to minimize as much bad stuff as possible. So that's how they draw us into their fake system. It doesn't matter who we vote for, but we vote anyways, just to keep the lesser of the evils in there. You see, it draws people into their bullshit system. And we keep thinking the state is our only solution. It's what we got, and it's all we can deal with. Blah blah blah. But the other way is that it could have been a hoax death, and then they threw in the sketchy detail of the sketchy wording of a pillow over the head to get us stirred up. I personally think they threw in that weird wording to get us. It's deliberate, okay? But you wouldn't do it if there was an actual murder and you were trying to cover it up in a political system that is truly divided, because someone is going to want to investigate and get to the bottom of it, right? But in a political system that isn't divided, it's fine, you can say anything you want, because if we don't want it investigated, it won't get investigated. And if there's any investigation, I'm sure it goes nowhere, either because it was a simple heart stoppage and there was nothing funny about it, or they just said, don't look into this because we're doing this big scam, big propaganda scam on the public, and we need, don't look into our propaganda, for crying out loud. So this is really confusing, I guess. Jason, why are you against conspiracy theories? Well, I'm pro-conspiracy theory that they're all working together, and there's no political divide, no real political divide. It's all a show. So that's a conspiracy theory that I am promoting. I believe that. If I'm wrong, I will change my mind. I will say so. And let's jump over to the Oregon shooting. I know I'm late to the party on this one, but I'm just so friggin' lazy. I have to wait till I get super annoyed before I say something. And really the thing was the assassination talk of, Scalia. That got me annoyed. Because now they're trying to push this news bud, James Corbett is trying to get this news bud thing together where they're reporting on stuff. It seems like they're going to be talking about things as if all politics is real, geopolitics is real. So I mean, you might as well just put together, mainstream media outlet, mainstream. You're talking about everything as if it's all for real. not sure what we're really gonna learn, except a different version of propaganda. So I don't know. But anyways, in the Lavoy Finicum shooting, my concern there is, it looks like, you know, I was thinking that the Bundy thing was a psyop, like last year or whatever. I thought that was a psyop, but now that they've had Ryan Bundy in the vehicle that is getting shot at, I just don't think they take those kinds of chances with people who are on their side. So if he was part of a psyop, he would have hopped out of the fucking truck before Lavoy Finicum tore off. Ryan Payne jumped out, so he's either some sort of agent or he's just smart. Get the fuck out of that truck. So I heard enough talk from people on the internet that they went there to the refuge there, and they talked to these people and they seemed really sincere and everything. So, you know, I'm backing away from that it was a psyop. I don't think it was a psyop. Like, even the whole Bundy Ranch thing. I'm pretty sure they got infiltrated by somebody, maybe one or two people. Who they are, I don't know. Not my problem. You know, FBI or whatever. I imagine they got infiltrated, and so when they were taking their little joyride, which is stupid, over to talk to the next town over or whatever it was in this Oregon thing, then they got pulled over. People are saying that Lavoy didn't have any a gun on him or whatever, but I'm pretty sure there were guns, or at least a gun, in the vehicle that he was in. Whether it was his, I don't know. Whether he had one on him, I don't know. You have to figure there was at least one gun in that truck, because you're pulled over by the authorities, right? And if you've got no weapon on you, what's your best move there? Isn't it just to get out and give up? Because if you run, they're going to stop you down the road, right? And then they're not going to be very happy with you. And you've got no gun to defend yourself. So it would be a stupid, stupid move to start running if you had zero weapons in the truck. And I believe I think it was Ryan Bundy, one of the guys who got out of the truck, tossed a weapon out. You know, a pistol. So I don't know what was in the truck. But I'm pretty sure there was a gun in the truck. So just normal police procedure kind of stuff, you know, FBI asshole kind of stuff. You got to assume that these people are armed, and when Lavoy is doing this, whatever that was, he got shot. Oh, he got shot before that. I don't know. I don't know if he got shot before that. Didn't seem like it to me, but whatever. But it's not a psyop, and I think that guy did die, and that video was real video. I didn't see any error or weirdness in it. Other people do, but I just think it's the way they're looking at it. So I just don't think you're going to shoot at a vehicle that is full of people who are part of your psyop, because they could get hurt, unless they're some sort of weird kind of human that I don't know about. I'm gonna get out of the truck before this crazy guy hauls off and commits suicide for me. I mean, I don't want to commit suicide, so I'm getting out of the truck. That's what I would do if we had no guns, but I'm pretty sure there was a gun, at least one in there. So yeah, I mean, the government's an asshole, I know that. So if they shot him down and he had no gun on him, you know, standard government hates you kind of stuff. You know, That's not, I'm not defending the government. I'm just saying that that's what they do. So, and since they're in power, good luck, you know, investigating that and proving them guilty of some type of abuse. Good luck. We need to undo the system where we have a state running everything. It's just stupid, I think. I don't know if that got provocateured by the you know, that whole standoff situation. I don't know if that got provocateured, and I am a Bundy got talked into doing that by some sort of agent the FBI slipped in there, or if that was a legit idea. But anyways, the people who were there, it seems like they were they wanted to be there. That was their thing. So it wasn't a psyop, in my opinion. It was just a bad idea. It seemed like, you know, I heard that interview with Lavoy, where the guy was asking him what he would do in a situation where he had to give up, you know, if the authorities had a gun on him or whatever. And it seemed like this was the first time he had even thought of what he would do in that situation. And he's like, oh, it's just not right to do that. And it seemed like really naive. I really believe that he was a genuine person and not some sort of actor or anything. And that was the first time he had given it any thought as to what he was going to do when the authorities finally caught up with him, because he had warrants out for him or something. I think he had some grand idea of how the authorities would treat him, like as if he was noble, and they would they would just take him in. Oh, thanks for surrendering or whatever. Jumping out of the truck like that. I really think he was a little naive with how he thought that was going to work out. I don't think he was suicidal, but unless he didn't mind dying for the cause, or, you know, maybe he thought he might get shot, but he wasn't worried about that. But I don't know. I'm just rambling about that. So what else is going on? Oh wait, I wanted to mention that Tom Campbell did a video recently about action at a distance. You know, like gravity is action at a distance, and magnetism is action at a distance, and charge-related things are action at a distance. And I think people really need to check that out, because we're in a simulation. This whole world, all this physical stuff, that's not... I don't want to go over that again, but it's simulated, okay? And so check out that video, and he explains how science, since they can't explain gravity, what they do is they come up with terms like gravitational field is what they can describe gravity using the math, right? Math describes gravity, but it doesn't explain why mass attracts other mass or bends space or whatever it does. It doesn't explain anything. So they just say it's gravitational field, and that's what does it. They just invent the word field, and that works with magnetism too. It's an invention. There is no physical worldly explanation of how something that isn't touching something else can pull it towards itself. There's no mechanical explanation of how a magnet draws a piece of steel to it, because there can't be. You know, in a vacuum, what is it? What is it that's drawing one thing to another? Or, you know, nothing. There's nothing. So science has no explanation. It's impossible to explain. And Tom Campbell, in this video, tells you what they do about that problem. They invent the term fields to hide the fact that they don't know. And they can't know. Tom says you can't know because it's just a rule. It's just as if God said, okay, well, I need this matter stuff to attract each other so that we can have enough clumps of it together to stand on and walk around and have a civilization. It's just something that needed to be a rule like that. And so there was a rule. In a simulation, you can do that. You can just make up a rule. Check out this video anyway. It's called Tom Campbell, Atlanta 2016, Action at a Distance. So that's what gravity is. It's just a rule. Even if you say it's, we have an electric universe and really it's charge that's, electrical charge is keeping planets attracted to each other or whatever. That's still action at a distance, and you still need to explain to me how charge can do that. Science can't explain charge. They don't even try. They just say there's lines of force coming out of a proton, and there's lines of force going into an electron. And that's why lines of force that come out attract lines of force that go in, and lines of force that go out repel lines of force that go out. They just make it up, which is fine, because if you know the math, you can predict what's going to happen, and that's good enough. So they give you a sort of an explanation. It's a model that works because you know what the math is and you can predict things. You can make up a different model for what an atom looks like. And they made up two models for gravity, right? You had Newton said matter attracts other matter. And that's the rule. He said matter attracts other matter. That's something about matter. Don't know what. Makes other matter come to it. And Einstein, he created a different model. He said, no, matter doesn't attract other matter. Matter bends space. So it just looks like matter attracts other matter. Well, he just created a different model that describes gravity, but it doesn't explain why matter attracts matter or why matter bends space. It doesn't explain anything. So you need to check that out because it's simply a simulation, and he goes into why it's probabilistic, and it has to be probabilistic. It just makes it easier. I've seen flat earthers saying that that gravity there is no gravity. It's just pressure and buoyancy. So things that are lighter float up, I guess. And things that are heavier fall down. So I don't know why my 10-pound weight doesn't float up when my 20-pound weight is sitting on the ground. Shouldn't the lighter one float up? They say there's no gravity. You need gravity first, and then you can have buoyancy. Without this force that's driving everything down, differences in density wouldn't matter. They would just sit side by side. Oh, you're dense and I'm light, or I'm less dense. They wouldn't change direction. They wouldn't change their position without the gravity itself. Without some apparent force. Like I said, it's just a rule anyway, so. It's all simulated. Oh! People are beating each other up about, is it flat, is it round? Well, it's all simulated, and there's zero. I can't find any evidence that points to flat Earth. I can't find it. I can find evidence that points to a spherical Earth or a ball Earth or whatever you want to call it. I find evidence of that. You know, short of leaving the planet, you're not going to know. I'm sure enough. I don't know why. The only reason I mention this flat Earth stuff is because there's a good thing about it, which is it shows me that we can hold on to our biases with a death grip. we can hold on to our conspiracy ideas too fanatically. So I see this in the flat Earth community. You know, they're deleting comments and no comments allowed on this video or whatever. They are going overboard so that they never see evidence that conflicts with their model. Which is weird. If you're into the truth, you would want to see evidence that conflicts with your model. I want to see evidence that conflicts with my model. Because I want to know what the truth is, not what I think the truth is. So they kind of did me a favor in that I can see that we can go overboard with the conspiracy. So it gives me a model of what not to do, of a way not to be. Like, don't go so far that you block out everything else. You know, I don't want to hear that. Okay, it conflicts with my thought on this. I want to hear things that conflict with my paradigm, so to speak, so that I can get it right. So if politics isn't all a hoax, then I want to know. Unfortunately, it might be one of those type of conspiracy ideas that's not falsifiable, and so I'll never know for sure. Unless I run for Congress or whatever, then I might know. Please check out that Tom Campbell video. I will put a link in the description box, so I'll make it easy. It's kind of confusing what he's trying to say, but I just told you what he's really trying to say is they don't know what gravity is and how things get pulled or pushed around from without touching each other. They don't know. Okay? They come up with a nice way to pretend that they know for our sake, so that we think, well, they got it all in hand. Check out that video. Don't argue with me about it unless you've, checked it out. Nobody has to believe this world is simulated. That's fine. Whatever. It's probably the worst video I've ever done. I swear to God, I knew what I was going to talk about, and then I did the video, and I don't know. Alright, that's enough. Good day.